Alright, welcome back to New Zealand. Well, it finally happened. My belt snapped. So let's swap on a new one. Way back when I bought my bike, the salesperson told me to be careful riding off curbs because if you're on throttle, the motor will spin at a different speed than the rear wheel and snap your belt. To demonstrate, imagine the motor and the rear wheel are spinning at a similar rate. If you hit a rock or a pothole, or if you ride off a curb, then the rear wheel will suddenly stop. But the motor's still spinning really fast, so in a split second you snap the belt. Well, my wife hit a pothole while going really fast, and that's exactly what happened. Alright. It's okay, we have a spare.
Yeah?
Yeah, no problem. After taking a look at the belt, I think it's worth noting that after 3.5 years of riding 17,000 kilometers, riding to the city and back, parking in the rain and the sun all day long, going to the racetrack, launching on Ducatis all day long, the belt looks perfectly fine. It was just that sudden acceleration over a bump that snapped it. Anyway, within an hour, our hero Tim showed up with his Leaf, with all the tools and know-how to swap on a new belt in minutes. I didn't make a proper step-by-step how-to video just because we were in such a rush to get the bike running again, but enough people asked me for one, so here it is. Obviously the belt is already on the bike because Tim helped me replace it, and I don't want to take it back off, so I'm going to use some movie magic and high-tech special effects to show you how to do it without actually doing it. Step 1, break your belt. It's the easiest way to get it off the bike. Step 2, get a bunch of tools. You're going to need a 10mm Allen socket, 3mm Allen key, 13mm wrench or spanner, 15mm socket for the brake lever, a 27mm socket for the axle nut, a breaker bar, some ratcheting straps or strops or tie downs, whatever you want to call them, and a replacement belt. You also need some way of lifting the zero from the center. Tim had this awesome jack. It's something like you would use on a dirt bike. Or if you're out on the road with no jacks or Tims in sight, just push the bike over. It's not like the battery's going to leak out. Step 3. Alright, back into the computer. Unfortunately, you can't just remove the rear wheel and put the belt in because the swing arm has this brace tube in the middle. So you have to actually unbolt the swing arm, lift the rear wheel so the swing arm rotates out, and then loop the belt in around the front of it. But before doing that, use your 27mm socket and the breaker bar to loosen up the rear axle nut, and use that 13mm wrench to loosen these adjusters. You'll have to move the rear wheel around to adjust the new belt once you get it on, and it's easier to loosen these before you take the swing arm off. Then, use this 15mm socket to remove the bolt holding your brake lever on. This will make it easier to get to the swing arm bolt on this side. Then loop your tie down through this tube in the swing arm, and up around the seat. It's probably best to put something under it so you don't damage the seat, like a cat, or a reusable bag. You're going to use the tie down to hold up the swing arm because the spring is still compressed, so it's pushing the swing arm down and it puts a lot of pressure on the bolts. Step 4. Pop off these little black caps that are on each side, and then grab your breaker bar and the 10mm Allen socket to remove the swing arm bolts. Step 5. Take out the bolts that hold the rear hugger on. You only need to take out these two on this side, just so the belt can go under it. Step 6. Loosen the tie down and lift up the rear wheel to make space between the swing arm and the frame. Now there should be a gap to get the new belt in. Angle it around the front sprocket and then loop it around the rear. Then all you need to do is move the swing arm back up, bolt it in place. If you have a torque wrench, torque these to 75 foot-pounds or 102 newton meters, and adjust the rear wheel until your belt tension is right, and then tighten up the axle nut. The axle nut should also be torqued to 75 foot-pounds or 102 newton meters. So there you go, super easy, it didn't take very long, and it's something you can do yourself if you have the right tools. So get out there and snap some belts. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys next time.